Hey guys, Auntie N, the amazing Amy. Now, Amy's going to do 5 poems for us today. Yes, 5. First one is is it an exclusive? This first one, Amy, or was it?
It isn't exclusive in that it isn't published anywhere.
Okay, and wants to publish it, track Amy down then. But we do need to give people a serious warning on the content of the first one. This first piece may upset a few people, but as far as I'm opinion of this first piece, it has to be said, and it's not offensive, but people's political views may not be the same as Amy's and mine are here. So, Amy, over to you for the first piece.
Okay. So this first piece is simply titled Palestine. Palestine. It's a crime treated little better than cattle. Half the battle is over getting those MPs to see that they should be free. They justify this pain. It's insane. This prejudice is so ingrained. The West is so much to blame. I feel ashamed to tick the same box as those British toffs. I didn't vote for death. I didn't vote for execution, for retribution against innocent civilians. And you've since been labelling them the villains, and apparently they deserve what they get. I weep. These images of lives pillaged and abandoned by mankind, eyes have turned blind to a genocide. Gaza's a wreck, a brutal cage, a horror on the world stage that no one should applaud with their smug ignorance abroad. A parent leaves their house for bread, returns to find family all dead. A doctor labels children wounded, no surviving family. How is this not a tragedy? This war rages across ages, decades of misinformation, endless retaliation, trouble in the Middle East, with no relief and no peace. A line was crossed. And the cost? The price of politics? Its currency spent in these 90 plus days digs 24,000 graves. And that's not even the latest update.
Great.
So yeah, I had to add a little bit onto the end because that number unfortunately is inaccurate now.
Yeah, it's a real difficult topic. Politics, tongue in mouth now. Yeah, a real difficult topic, Palestine. I'm of the opinion, I'm looking at like fact, like I don't agree with all the innocent lives getting killed. Because no matter war, it's always the innocent that gets hurt to me.
Yeah.
That's why I agree. I think dead right reading that piece out there, John, yourself.
Well,
Right.
this is the thing, isn't it? It isn't any of the civilians that are the cause of this. That's the point of the poem. It's, you know, I'm a British citizen and I don't agree with the decisions that have been made.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat with it. It's upsetting. Really, really upsetting this. And you're dead right, I agree with you. So that's all we can just do with this one is hope it gets sorted out. That's the point of it. I always do the word hope. Let's hope so. Okay, now we're going to go on to a couple of. Oh, I say a couple. It's not a couple. You're going to do 4 poems now from your debut book, aren't you, as well? So
I'm just I've got little sticky labels, so I'm
organized.
trying to find the order that I put the labels in.
Whoops.
Okay. Oh, grief. Trying to make it easier for myself, and then right. So this one's a shorter one. So there's some quite long poems in the book, but then there's also a few that I would call short or micro poems. So this one is called Your Memory. How can I hold a memory in my hand? I look at your photographs and try to soothe my pain with the glossy images, hoping to be subdued by ghosts captured in the past. But nothing can explain the empty space that your love used to occupy, the unplayed music that was always your favourite. When words ache through lyrics that seem written just for you, the hours are now drawn out longer than the minutes we ever spent together. and I await her kiss tangled with strings of fate.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff indeed there. That's, look, if people look at the format of that, that's quite prosy, that piece, actually, for me. And how do you feel then? Because obviously you told me already, I know the book has a mixture of poems and micro poems and other sorts of forms in it. How do you feel about when you look back at this book now? You think of like, there's really quite a big variety in the book, isn't there?
Yeah, I think because I didn't set out to write a book, they aren't all on the same thing. So the book itself is split into different parts. So like it's in the contents page, there's a section called breaking, which is all kind of the more difficult subjects. And then there's healing, which obviously you then think, oh, this is a bit more upbeat. Imagining are ones that are kind of a bit kooky, a bit fairies and witches and goblins and just kind of fantasy type things that didn't really go with anything. And then loving, a lot of the loving poems are to do with my now husband, and just like feeling optimism again and like becoming a mum and all of these things that I never thought I would experience, like when you're kind of in the depths of feeling so awful. And I sort of wish I could go back and tell myself like it does get better, like you will feel like joy again. And then the last section of the book's called growing, so it's all things that are like optimistic, like things to look forward to, and sort of a more happy ending to the collection than some of the more morbid ones.
Yeah, no, of course. And I agree with you completely with it. So, okay, I better move on here. I'm conscious of the time for you today here. So, okay, which poem do you want to do next?
Well, I've just said about the optimistic poems, but this one's called grief.
Is it optimistic in a grief-like way?
It's more the thing of when you've sat with grief for a while, it isn't the fresh kind of feelings of it. It's the how you people say that you don't get over grief, you just grow around it, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is a bit more of a once you've lived with it for a while. The only time I think of you is when my heart beats, when my breath catches in the fog of my brain. During the sunrise, the daylight hours of clouds dance far above me, and I remember your name. This twilight, as the paintwork framing our globe bleeds into itself, the darkness comes and pinpricks of a distant life spring forth. As I hear running water, a symphony of swirling and crashing and sudden stillness, tiny fragments of glass that I trace your memory into and build unconquerable castles with. Dreams bombarded with frozen images and an eagerness to contain them into a keepsake. Yes, the only time I think of you is when my eyes open or close and when my heart beats.
Love this stuff again. I was particularly interested in this poem as well, on the first answer, because I loved it the way you've done the lines that have overrun each other here, where you've done the last two lines on the first stanza, but during the sunrise, you've got a comma, the daylight hour of clouds dancing far above me, and a couple of full stops. I remember your name. Did the poem originally come out like this way, did it, with the overlapping lines, or did you have to play around with it a little bit in a figurative way?
I think it was kind of because when I wrote it, I wrote it specifically to be performed. So it was all just kind of one long paragraph. And then when I sent it to the publishers, they kind of wanted me to split it into these sections. I think because they didn't want sort of the reader to skim over it and be kind of like, oh yeah, it's just a paragraph, and then like moving on to the next poem. They wanted it to be a bit more like people taking their time to read it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I agree.
it is a bit of a strange layout, because sort of looking at this from a uni point of view, it's a bit of a strange layout because it's 4 3 4 2 3. But yeah, I think that combination with the dreams bombarded with frozen images and an eagerness to contain them, I think that was a bit more of a for me, it was a bit more of the idea of when you're in the middle of a good dream, but then like you get woken up and then you're like, oh, like that frustration of
I get you.
when you're having a great dream and then you're like, it's not finished, so it's just those 2 sentences.
Yeah, it's fine. So it's good. No, I agree with you. It's a good point indeed. So it's a great piece. Okay, we're on to poem number 3 now. I seem to recall, unless I got my mathematics completely hopelessly wrong.
No, I think
No, we've done 3 on poem number 4. Yeah, you see, my mathematics problems today.
So this one is quite a short one actually. It just came from the idea of when people sort of want to fix things but they don't necessarily know what to do, but then you're in that point of, well, I don't know what to do either, like I'm just in the same boat as you are. So it's called Tell Me. Tell me how to relate. Tell me how to help you feel. Tell me how I can stop the rush, this onslaught of rabid emotion. Tidal waves of thoughts crashing and turning on themselves, brutal and foaming at the mouth, endless swirling and clinging onto small islands surrounding this abyss. Just tell me what the matter is. Just tell me how to help you. Just tell me what to do. Tell me. So yeah, that was a little one.
That is quite a short poem. I really like that. Can we ask you a quick question about the shape of this piece, just to make people aware of it? Because I love the fact where it doesn't always work poetry with me, this, but when you use repetition, because I think the repetition in this piece is really well done. Doing a really good job on this. Where people see the structure, you've got tell me, and tell me how to relate, tell me how to help you feel. And there's 4, like a couple, and there's a couple of just tell me what the matter is, just tell me at the end of it, and then tell me. Was that again a conscious decision to actually use all the repetitions in that way in this piece?
Yeah, so that first section of tell me, it's it's not easy being the person that's, I don't know what to do, like how it's a bit of desperation, it's a bit of but just tell me what to do and I'll do it, kind of thing. That's what I was sort of trying to get across, is the person that wants to help, but they're maybe, without intending to, they're bombarding this person. I need the answer. What's the answer? Like, how can I help you? And you're like, well, I don't know. Just like, I don't, I don't know. But I didn't want it to just be a poem where it was the same beginning of every single sentence. So that's why kind of in the middle, it's this imagery of like the ocean, and it's unpredictable, and you can't tell the ocean what to do. Like, you can't tell the ocean how to move. It'll move how it wants to. And I suppose that's kind of when you're in a tight spot and you don't know how it's going to work out, and then it's kind of goes back to the same, the end is the same as the beginning. But I quite like this idea of visual poetry, like the idea of how you lay out the sentence makes like a shape, and I think this shape is sort of like an acorn kind of shape.
If people look at the piece, you can see it on there. It does. It's got a beautiful the way you've used repetition, because the tone in it changes when the second letter repetition at the end of it. Yeah, beautiful done. Really enjoyed that.
And then this last one is hopefully more of an upbeat one. It's called Solitude, but the actual context of well, you'll see what I mean. The actual context of it is a little bit more cheery than the other ones. Solitude. It can reawaken long forgotten passions. If you allow your mind to be still, away from constant chatter and distractions, you also open the door to create new potential experiences. It can unlock all the terrors of your mind and lay them bare, like an emotional air dry on a warm day. You can formulate plans or just release a build-up of years of hidden tears. It can open you up to an emotional kaleidoscope of thoughts that you never normally dwell on, bring about solutions you never would have had the time to construct. It can give you the gift of beauty with clarity. A walk through the woodland with only the company of the leaves and birds and clouds can give you true contentment. Loving time with just yourself is the truest self-care and deep appreciation.
Yeah, I think it's a really good way of wrapping up the setup, actually, that, Amy, because it's like you're bringing the full things forward, aren't you? We'll talk about all the upset and the rage in the first piece, and yeah, the evaluation. This brings everything full circle. I think that was great choice in that one. So
I think it was just that thing of I spent a lot of years keeping myself busy and not sitting still, because if I sat still then I would think about the things that were bothering me, and if you keep going and keep pushing and keep working and doing all of these things, you won't have time to think about it. But also, if you don't ever stop, you don't have time to appreciate the good things and kind of take stock. You don't have time to take stock and be like, look how great that day was, like look how wonderful this is, and these poetry friends and all this stuff. Like, give yourself chance to actually take it in and be like, this is good, this is like nice.
No, I agree with you completely with it. So it's opening your eyes up all the time. So I agree. Anyway, guys and girls, that's it for another session today. I want to thank Amy today. I've really enjoyed this today.
Oh, thank you. It felt like I was rambling on and on.
No, you don't. Listen, I ramble. You don't, right? Dead up for me. So, been a pleasure, definitely with that. So, we're going to talk more off mic anyway. So, as I said, thank you again for this today. So,
thanks, Richard.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Harris. His lordship to me and Amanda, right? Definitely. So,
right.
No. Anyway, guys. Oh, we love him. We love him, a spoken late one. I know you love him as well. He keeps going about your mentoring him at the moment, so we're going to embarrass him.
Richard is just a fabulous man. Every time I see him, and my husband loves him as well. Every time we see him, it's just and his wife, they're just so lovely and just so much fun, and he's so supportive. It's just, I love Richard.
Yeah, we all do. He's a force of nature. That's a good way of putting it, Richard. Definitely so. Right, anyway, Amy, we're going to talk more off mic anyway. But thank you again for today. Keep in touch. I'd love to have you on again if book number 2. Or no, let's get rid of the word if. When book number 2 comes in. Yeah, when, never if. Right. So when book number 2 is out, definitely come back on again. Let me know, okay? So as Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe and stay over. We'll see you all next time.